Listen up, wrestling fanatics, what you're about to witness isn't just another backstage brawl. This is the moment when one of the most dominant tag teams in WWE history explodes in a fury of betrayal, revenge, and absolute carnage. Bianca Belair just returned from injury, and she didn't come back to shake hands. She came back to destroy the woman who left her broken and alone. This is personal. This is brutal. This is SLAMZONE. The tension has been building for weeks, and tonight on Monday Night Raw, it all came to a head in the most vicious way possible. You see, Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair weren't just tag team partners, they were supposed to be sisters in battle, warriors who had each other's backs no matter what. They dominated the women's division together, crushed everyone in their path, and made it look easy. But then everything changed. When Bianca needed Jade the most, when she was down and vulnerable after that brutal attack that put her on the shelf, Jade was nowhere to be found. Some say she walked away. Others whisper that she wanted Bianca gone. And tonight, the EST of WWE came back with fire in her eyes and vengeance in her heart. The Raw cameras caught everything, and trust me when I say this footage is going to be replayed for years to come. Bianca stormed through that backstage area like a woman possessed, her long braid whipping behind her as she moved with purpose and rage. Production staff scattered. Security tried to follow. And then she found her. Jade Cargill was standing there, cool and confident as always, talking to some crew members like she owned the place. But the moment she turned around and saw Bianca charging toward her, you could see it in her face, she knew what was coming, and there was nowhere to run. Before we go any further, I need you to do something for me real quick. If you love wrestling, if you live for these intense moments that make your heart race and your adrenaline spike, then please hit that subscribe button right now. SLAMZONE is your home for the most passionate, most detailed wrestling breakdowns on YouTube, and I promise you, we're just getting started. Smash that like button, turn on the notification bell, and drop a comment telling me whose side you're on, Team Bianca or Team Jade. Because what happened tonight is going to divide the wrestling world, and I want to hear from every single one of you. Now let's get back to this absolute war. Bianca didn't say a word. She didn't need to. Her actions spoke louder than any promo ever could. She grabbed Jade by the shoulders and slammed her against the concrete wall with a force that echoed through the entire corridor. The impact was sickening. Jade's eyes went wide with shock, and before she could even react, Bianca unleashed a flurry of forearms to the face, each one landing with devastating precision. You could hear the smack of flesh on flesh, the grunts of pain, the gasps from everyone watching. This wasn't a wrestling match. This was a fight. This was real emotion spilling out in the most violent way possible. Jade tried to fight back, throwing wild punches and trying to create some space, but Bianca was relentless. The EST grabbed Jade by her hair and whipped her around, sending her crashing into a stack of equipment cases. The cases toppled over with a tremendous crash, metal clanging against concrete, and Jade went down hard. But Bianca wasn't done. Not even close. She stalked over to where Jade was trying to crawl away, grabbed her by the ankle, and dragged her back like a predator pulling in its prey. The look on Bianca's face was something else, pure, unfiltered fury mixed with the pain of betrayal. This was about more than just a beatdown. This was about trust shattered, loyalty questioned, and friendship destroyed. The backstage area was in complete chaos. Referees came running from every direction, producers were shouting into their headsets, and several superstars emerged from their locker rooms to see what was happening. But nobody dared get between these two warriors. Even the officials seemed hesitant to step in, because they knew this had to happen. This confrontation had been brewing since the moment Bianca went down injured, and now the dam had burst. The energy was electric, dangerous, and absolutely captivating. Bianca pulled Jade up by her gear and looked her dead in the eyes. For a split second, you could see the hurt behind the anger. These two had shared so many victories together, celebrated championship wins, traveled the road as partners, and now it had come to this. But the moment of hesitation passed quickly, and Bianca drove her knee into Jade's midsection, doubling her over. Then she grabbed the trademark braid of hers, the same braid that has become one of the most iconic weapons in all of wrestling, and she whipped Jade across the back with it. The crack of that braid connecting was like a gunshot. Jade arched her back in agony, screaming out in pain, and you could actually see the red welt forming instantly across her shoulder blades. The crowd reaction was insane. Even though this was happening backstage, the fans in the arena were watching on the big screens, and the place was absolutely unglued. Half the audience was chanting EST, 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 while the other half was in shock at the sheer brutality they were witnessing. Social media exploded immediately. Wrestling Twitter went into absolute meltdown. Everyone was talking about this moment, sharing clips, breaking down every second of the assault. This is what wrestling is all about: real emotion, real consequences, and moments that feel genuinely unpredictable. Jade tried one last desperate counter, shoving Bianca backward and attempting to create some distance. For a moment, it looked like she might actually escape or at least mount some offense. But Bianca charged forward and connected with a thunderous shoulder tackle that sent Jade crashing through a catering table. Food and drinks went flying everywhere. The table completely collapsed under the impact, and Jade lay there in the wreckage, stunned, battered, and utterly defeated. The message had been sent loud and clear: Bianca Belair is back, and she's coming for blood. Security finally managed to swarm the area and pull Bianca away, but she was still shouting, still trying to break free and get her hands on Jade again. You could see the veins in her neck, the intensity in her eyes, the raw emotion pouring out of her. This wasn't a work storyline where everyone shakes hands after the cameras stop rolling. This felt real because the emotions driving it are real. These are two of the most talented, most athletic, most dominant women in professional wrestling, and their partnership ending in such violent fashion is going to have massive repercussions for weeks and months to come. As officials helped Jade to her feet and checked on her condition, you could see the damage that had been done. Her lip was busted, her back was marked up, and she was moving gingerly, clearly feeling every bit of that assault. But even more than the physical damage, it was the look in her eyes that told the story. Shock, anger, and maybe, just maybe, a hint of respect for the woman who just destroyed her. Because deep down, Jade has to know she had this coming. When you turn your back on a warrior like Bianca Belair, there are consequences. Now here's what makes this whole situation even more intense: we have no idea where this goes from here. Is this leading to a match at the next pay-per-view? Will Jade seek revenge? Will management get involved and try to keep them apart, or will they let this fire continue to burn? The possibilities are endless, and that's what makes wrestling beautiful. We're not just watching predetermined outcomes, we're watching stories unfold with real human emotion at the core, and anything can happen next. I want you to think about the journey these two have been on. Bianca Belair is one of the most accomplished women in WWE history, former Royal Rumble winner, multiple-time champion, WrestleMania main eventer. She's proven time and time again that she's the strongest, the fastest, and the most resilient. But even the strongest warriors can be hurt when someone they trust stabs them in the back. And Jade Cargill? She came into WWE with massive hype, having dominated another promotion before making the jump. When she teamed with Bianca, it seemed like an unstoppable combination. But maybe the pressure got to her. Maybe jealousy crept in. Maybe she couldn't handle playing second fiddle to someone as naturally dominant as Bianca. Whatever the reason, the alliance is shattered now, and the fallout is going to be nuclear. Before we talk about what happens next, I need you to do me a huge favor. If you're still watching, if you're as fired up about this as I am, hit that like button right now. Seriously, it takes 1 second, and it helps this channel grow so we can keep bringing you the best wrestling content on YouTube. Subscribe to SLAMZONE if you haven't already, because we've got so much more coming your way. Big matches, shocking returns, championship changes, backstage drama, we cover it all with the passion and detail you deserve. Drop a comment and tell me, do you think Bianca was justified in what she did, or did she go too far? I want to hear your thoughts because the SLAMZONE family is all about passionate discussion and different perspectives. Now let's bring this home. The question on everyone's mind is simple: what comes next? Because this kind of intensity can't just be swept under the rug. Management is going to have to address this situation, and when they do, it's going to be explosive. Will they book a match at the Royal Rumble? At Elimination Chamber? Could we be looking at a potential WrestleMania showdown between these former partners? The possibilities are endless, and all of them are exciting. This is the kind of storyline that could define both women's careers for years to come. What makes this situation so compelling is that both women have legitimate claims to being in the right. Bianca feels betrayed and abandoned when she needed her partner most. That's real hurt driving her actions. And while we haven't heard Jade's side of the story yet, you know she's going to have her own perspective on what happened. Maybe she felt like she was always living in Bianca's shadow. Maybe she thought the partnership was holding her back from reaching her full potential. Maybe there were issues behind the scenes we don't even know about yet. When Jade finally gets her chance to respond, it's going to add whole new layers to this conflict. The wrestling world is better when we have stories like this, stories built on genuine emotion and real stakes. This isn't about supernatural powers or goofy comedy segments. This is about two elite athletes who had each other's backs until they didn't, and now they want to destroy each other. It's simple, it's effective, and it's exactly what fans want to see. The physicality we witnessed tonight was just the beginning. When these two finally get in the ring together for an official match, it's going to be absolutely brutal. Think about the match possibilities. A straight-up singles match would be incredible, showcasing both women's athleticism and power. But what about a hardcore match? Or a last woman standing match? Or even an I Quit match where one of them has to verbally surrender? Any of those stipulations would fit the intensity of this feud perfectly. And you know what? The crowd would be absolutely deafening for any of those encounters. This is the kind of feud that sells tickets, generates mainstream attention, and creates those iconic WrestleMania moments that fans remember forever. As we watch Bianca being escorted away from the scene tonight, still fired up and ready to go another round, you could feel the shift in the women's division. This isn't just about these two anymore. Everyone in that locker room is now on notice. If you cross Bianca Belair, if you betrayed her trust or show her disrespect, there will be consequences. She's not just the EST because of her physical ability, she's the EST because of her heart, her determination, and her refusal to let anyone keep her down. And after months of recovery and rehabilitation, she came back with a mission to remind everyone why she's at the top of this industry. The social media reaction alone tells you how much this moment mattered. Within minutes, Bianca Belair was trending worldwide. Wrestling journalists were scrambling to get statements. Fans were creating memes, making videos, and debating every aspect of what happened. This is the kind of organic buzz that money can't buy. When wrestling hits this sweet spot where the storyline feels real and the emotions are genuine, magic happens. And tonight was pure magic, even if it was delivered through violence and chaos. So where does the SLAMZONE family stand on all of this? I want to hear from you in the comments section right now. Are you Team Bianca, supporting her quest for vengeance against the woman who abandoned her? Or are you Team Jade, waiting to hear her side of the story before passing judgment? There's no wrong answer here. This is what wrestling fandom is all about. Passionate debates, different perspectives, and coming together to celebrate the stories we love. Before I wrap this up, I want to remind you one final time, hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and turn on those notifications so you never miss a moment of SLAMZONE content. We're building something special here, a community of wrestling fans who live for these intense moments and want to discuss them with people who care just as much as they do. Your support means everything to this channel, and together we're going to make SLAMZONE the premier destination for wrestling commentary on YouTube. Tonight on Monday Night Raw, we witnessed something special. Not special in a feel-good way, but special in its raw intensity and emotional honesty. Bianca Belair returned from injury and immediately made it clear that she's not here to play games or slowly build toward a confrontation. She came back ready for war, and she delivered a beating that Jade Cargill won't soon forget. The scars from tonight, both physical and emotional, will last a long time. And when these two warriors finally settle their differences in the ring, with a referee, a bell, and stakes on the line, it's going to be absolutely legendary. This is just the beginning of what promises to be one of the most intense feuds of the year. The story has been set, the battle lines have been drawn, and the entire wrestling world is watching to see what happens next. Thank you for joining me here at SLAMZONE for this breakdown. Until next time, keep that wrestling passion alive, stay engaged with the stories, and remember, in this business, anything can happen, and usually does. Peace out, wrestling family.